one thing that I found very interesting as I've traveled the world and met other Black American guys is that a lot of the Black American guys I've met overseas have disproportionately been lames and simps. And for the longest time, I didn't understand why until I sat down and I said to myself, I'm like, well, think about it. You know, the lames and the simps were the ones that were more focused on their career and their future on the come up, which is why now they have the ability to travel and go overseas and experience these things. Whereas, you know, the guys on the come up that were more focused on their swag, getting bitches and shit, you know, they don't have that ability because they weren't focused on their career or their future. And Philko is a perfect example of the type of lame that I meet all the time when I'm overseas. You know, and it's pretty obvious to anyone that watches his videos that he is a lame. You know, he recently made a video where he talked about how in high school he was a goth and he became a goth because he had some social anxiety issues. And generally speaking, goths are lames. You know, guys that are goths, they maybe most of them tend to be unattractive, or most of them tend to be insecure in relation to their peers or women, which is why they gravitate towards that safe space of just being able to say, well, I'm a goth. I'm not a lame, I'm a goth. And I knew a lot of guys. I knew a lot of guys like that. You knew they just became goth because they were lames and they were social outcasts, and it was a lot easier for them to justify to themselves that they were goth or fall in line with that culture than to just look in the mirror and admit I'm a lame. I'm not appealing to chicks and whatnot, and that's why I'm gravitating to this space. And Philko's a perfect example of that guy, that type of guy, and then another video I watched, that he made, he was talking about how when he was younger, he thought he was gay, you know what I'm saying? And he kissed a guy and, amongst Black American guys, admitting that you thought you were gay and you kissed a guy, to the world, it's a complete no-no. And any black guy that was watching, any black guy that's a viewer of Philko that watches this video, and that watches his videos, and watch that specific video of him admitting that he thought he was gay and he kissed a dude, had to have raised an eyebrow. Had to, and that was a perfect example of what I'm talking about. And not just the fact that he kissed a guy and thought he was gay, but the fact that he felt comfortable enough to admit it, because amongst Black American dudes, a real dude would never admit to some shit like that comfortably, ever. Not comfortably, not in any circumstance, And, I remember, and there was another video he made, and this was the video where he really kind of showed his ass, where, you really could see him being a lame. And it was when he was in Napa, and I think at that point when he was in Napa, he had rented an apartment with his girlfriend at the time. I think her name was Crazy something or Crazy Face. And in that particular video, he's trying to record her, and, she doesn't really want to be recorded, so she's kind of like walking from room to room trying to like get away from him, and he's just like chasing after her, whining like a little girl, like a little fucking girl, like, baby, where are you going, baby? And I remember watching that video and saying to myself, like, wow, this guy's really a fucking lame. Like, wow. Like, up to that point, I knew he was a lame, but it's one thing to like feel something and to know it and then to actually see it happen. You know what I'm saying? And, I'm sure you could go through his videos and see exactly what I'm talking about. And if you look at that video, you can just look at the expressions that, the expressions and the energy coming from the chick he was with. And you could tell she wasn't even feeling it. And I remember when I was watching that video, and I was watching him chasing that chick around and whining like a little girl. I remember saying to myself, I'm like, you know what? She's gonna bounce on him. She's gonna leave him and shit. Because I said to myself, I'm like, No chick is attracted to a guy like that who's gonna run around and call them baby and be all on their heels like that. That bullshit doesn't turn chicks on. So I knew she would leave him, and I wasn't surprised when she actually did. You know what I'm saying? And then this dude, he gets all depressed, and he gets in mourning. I guess he couldn't eat after she left him or something like that. And that's another thing, because it's like, man, I've had chicks come and go out of my life. Come and go, come and go. And let me tell you one thing, when any chick left, the next day I had a full meal. Okay, I didn't lose an ounce of sleep. You know what I'm saying? So to see how like distraught he was over that chick, I'm just like, what the fuck? This is the dude that's trying to front like he's like that dude in Russia and shit. You know what I mean? And then I think there's another video where like he's like crying on camera, and again, amongst brothers, you know what I mean when I say that shit wouldn't fly amongst us. Everybody else, you could say, oh, there's nothing wrong with the guy crying on camera or getting emotional on camera. Fuck that bullshit. Okay, amongst real dudes or real motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? That shit would not fly. I see Philko, he likes to play 50 Cent and shit when he's like trying to call cats out and whatnot. And I'm sure, and I've never seen 50 Cent cry on camera. And if he did see that video, he'd probably laugh at your ass. You know what I'm saying? And the last video that really kind of showed me that he was a true and epic lame was when he made a video basically talking about his affiliation with organized crime in Russia. I think what he was trying to do was trying to scare, his haters on YouTube from coming to his classes and basically saying, oh, if you come to my classes, there will be motherfuckers waiting to take you out and shit. And you're not trying to fuck with me because I get down like that. I'm like, nigga, you don't get down like that and shit. You know what I'm saying? And, it's funny because it's like, most people watching that video, they watch that video and they'd be like, oh wow, like Philko, like he rolls like that. He rolls with a crew like that, or he's connected like that. No, I'm here to tell you, no, motherfuckers, this motherfucker is not connected. This is basically how it works in Russia. From talking to my friends from Russia and from the videos and some of the things I've read about Russian organized crime in Russia. As a foreign businessman going to Russia, doing any business on a substantial level, you have to have what Russians call a ceiling. That's protection from a Russian mafia boss that will allow you to do business in whatever city you're going to or within their city. How do you get the protection? By giving them a percentage of your profit and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, Philko's trying to front like, he's in Russia and he's rolling with Goonies, or he has shooters, or, oh yeah, don't come and fuck with me at my classes because I get down like that. I'm just sitting there like, nigga, get the fuck out of here. You just in there, you just, all you doing is paying your fucking taxes and shit. You know what I'm saying? You're a tax-paying citizen. Stop trying to front like you got shooters or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Or you roll like that, or you're connected. Nah, you probably got some Russian dude that's shadowing you, walking behind you, letting these cats, some of these Russian mob cats or whoever, letting whoever know in these cities like, yeah, don't fuck with Philko, that's my bitch. That's what's really popping, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And for everyone who's listening to this video, there was a documentary made in 2011 called Thieves by Law. Really good documentary. In that documentary, they interview like 3 or 4 Russian mafia bosses. And they explain right then and there, that in order to come into their city and do business, you got to pay your taxes and shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's what this motherfucker, is really getting down with in Russia and shit. You know what I'm saying? He's literally getting extorted. You know, so I mean, when I watched that video, when I watched the video of him talking about his affiliation with Russian mafia, with the Russian mob, and you know how motherfuckers shouldn't, better not fuck with him. You know what I'm saying? Because if they do, he'll have people wait. I'm like, nigga, you don't got like, nigga, you paying your taxes. You know what I'm saying? You're no different than everybody else in Moscow or fucking Yekaterinburg or whatever the fuck you are that are paying their taxes and shit. You know what I'm saying? So don't be up there trying to act like you're a fucking goonie or you got motherfuckers on deck like that and shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, so I mean, I just have to make this video because, you know, I think it's important for guys like Philko to be called out. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I don't know, being a real dude, you know, it just, I don't know, it just makes me feel, it's like it's sickening to see guys like that try to like fronting on YouTube or fronting wherever they're fronting, pretending like they're they're getting it in, or they're that dude, when really they're just a fucking lame. I mean, if you just look at the content he puts up, I mean, it's like every new chick this dude fucks with, he's posting 5 to 10 videos with the chick. You know, I think he has like videos now with this chick, Kristen or Christina or something like that. You know, which I think could either A, be because she's a white chick with a fat ass and he thinks he can like gimmick some views off of that on his page, you know, or B, because he's caught up with her, which I think he's caught up with her. Because if you look at all the chicks he's chilled with for an extensive period of time in every city he's been in, he makes like 5 or 10 videos with all of them and shit. Even the ones that only have fuck all to say. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it just kind of shows you how caught up this motherfucker gets with these chicks. You know what I'm saying? And whatnot. You know? So, I think it was important for me to make this video because, you know, I think this dude is, you know, I mean, like I said, I mean, he's not a simp, but he is a lame. You know what I'm saying? I think he tries to flex on YouTube like he's that dude. But, nigga, you're not that dude. Okay? You're a goth. You kissed a dude. You admitted that you were gay. You cried on camera and shit. You know what I'm saying? And you're over there fronting like you're hard body and shit, or you're running with Goonies when really you're doing nothing other than paying your taxes. And if you don't, they'll kick your ass out of there and shit. So stop fronting, motherfucker. And that's pretty much all I gotta say. Passport player out.